Chad Dukes here from the nation's premier website, thefukerton.com, and locally here in D.C. via WJFK. We're talking with a former two-division world champion. He's got a gigantic fight coming back with Rich Franklin as they headline in Dublin. The UFC goes over to Ireland. We're talking with none other than Hendo, Dan Henderson on the line. Dan, what's going on, man?
Nada, how you doing?
Doing great. Very excited to talk to you. First of all, I was actually in Atlanta when I saw your last fight. Congratulations. And I know that your upcoming opponent, Rich Franklin, also beat Matt Hamill on the same card. Now you guys are set to headline. How's the training going as you prepare for Rich?
Training's going great. It's pretty much my second week of full-blown, every day, twice a day training. And I'm feeling good. Body's a little bit, adjusting to the extra rigors of training, but it's starting to feel a lot better.
Absolutely. Is it exciting for you at all? You fought so many different places in Pride and in the UFC. Ireland's a great market. It seems like it's sold out in record time. Are you excited at all to go over there?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I know that they had one show in Ireland before, not in Dublin, but I heard that the fans were just crazy for the sport, and it was just a awesome energy in the crowd. So I'm very looking forward to that quite a bit.
Talking with Dan Henderson on the show. Got a big fight coming up with Rich Franklin, UFC 93. Hendo, I got to ask you, you've been doing this for a while now. You've had some monumental victories. You've had all those great fights in Pride. I'm just curious, what's it like being a part of the sport now? Because clearly, fighting in mixed martial arts has been very popular and had a very strong niche, but now it's making the progression into the mainstream, and you see ESPN picking up on this and MSNBC and CNN. How different is it for you now with these fights being as big as they are? It must be very rewarding to be there when it was still growing and now see how successful the mixed martial arts has become.
Yeah, it's definitely been a great ride as far as watching the sport grow and being involved in it from its infancy, and it's a good feeling that I was part of that growth, and but on the other hand, I'm not done yet, and I don't think the sport has even come close to its potential, as far as popularity goes. So I'm very excited to be involved in it.
I agree, man, and I got to ask you about a couple of your teammates at Team Quest. First of all, have you talked to Mayhem Miller at all? Is he really retired? Because that seemed to happen all of a sudden.
The last time I talked to him, I haven't talked to him in a little while. He had basically had a second knee surgery, so I would be willing to bet everything I had that there's no way he's retired.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's a situation where when you're facing a long rehab or a big injury like that sometimes it just seems a little bit overwhelming, and maybe he just jumped the gun with announcing that?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I know that he's definitely has the personality where he needs to be fighting or he's going to go crazy. So.
Yeah, exactly. Another guy I got to ask you, what's next for Sokoju? There's some rumors that he's been released from the UFC. Clearly, he's one of the most exciting fighters there is around. He's a great guy to watch on television. I was just curious if you've spoken with him or know any of those details.
I'm not sure as far as what fight's going to be next for him. We've got to wait and see it. It's a possibility that the UFC will be releasing him, and if that happens, he just needs to get a few good fights under his belt, and I'm sure that he'll be back in the UFC or stay wherever he ends up. But I know that he's got a huge following in Japan, and that could be where he ends up for a while. But I think he's so young, and the sport's growing so much that I'm not worried about him having a job anywhere. So.
Hendo, let me ask you about your involvement with Clinch Gear. I know you have a big stake in them, and you've been offered several different endorsement deals, but you've planted your stake in this brand name. and it seems like you guys got a really good thing going on. What's it like running that business kind of parallel with your own MMA career? Because clearly it's a profitable business. We've seen other manufacturers come in and do great things and even start up their own promotions. What's it like on that side of the business as opposed to what you take care of in the cage?
Well, I have a good team behind me as far as with clinch gear goes, and my partner in clinch gear is done wonders as far as not tying my time up with all the little stuff. Most of the things that I do with clinch gear is the marketing and or helping with marketing and making sure that I'm giving different ideas for new shorts and testing all those shorts before we put them out on the market. And I think that's why I believe that our shirts are definitely the best ones out there.
Yeah, and going out and knocking guys out and tapping guys while wearing those shorts helps too, also, right, Dan?
Yeah, and originally when I got involved with clinch gear, a guy had started it, had a nice design for the fastening system in the shorts, and I started wearing the shorts and had part of the company as payment for that, and he didn't have the time or money or to take it to the next level, so I bought it from him and brought in my partner and invested a good amount of money getting it going, and it's just been taken off, and it's not stopping, even with the market being down or the economy being low. That we're not feeling that dip hardly at all. So I think it's the product is selling itself, just like MMA.
Yeah, it's a testament to your product and to the product of mixed martial arts that you're not seeing a dip in pay-per-views yet for the UFC. People are still buying that. They love to be entertained. So kudos to you guys. I got to ask you about another fighter then. Clearly you have to be impressed with the way that Brock Lesnar handled himself against Randy Couture. Randy's won so many great battles. But I was just curious, you're a veteran, you're a champion, you've been in the cage so many times. What did you think of Lesnar, who clearly is one of the most marketable fighters out there, but he got a title shot very early in his career, and it did rub some fighters that I've talked to the wrong way. I was just curious, he's champion now. Clearly he showed that he deserved the shot, but before that, were you okay with a guy like Brock Lesnar getting a title shot that early on in his MMA career?
Obviously I'm not the guy making decisions in the UFC, and had I been the one making decisions all these years in the UFC, it probably would be nothing right now. So. But as far as what that fight goes, it's definitely not something that probably should have happened yet. I've said it from when Brock Lesnar first got involved in MMA that that he has a ton of potential and he'll probably be UFC champion one day. But to have a title fight with a record of 2-1, just doesn't do the belt justice. Doesn't do the it kind of demeans the UFC belt, especially since he had won now. He's 3-1 and he's the UFC champion, and it kind of diminishes the value of the belt a little bit. Not saying that he's not tough, but there are a number of top 10 guys out there in the UFC or in MMA that would beat Brock right now, and not for any other reason other than lack of experience on Brock's part.